Welcome to the Clemson Dubcast. It is Tuesday, July 30th. We are 2 days away from the start of August camp in Clemson. Paul Strelo and I are getting lathered up. He's even suspending his weekly Monday morning recruiting insiders in favor of the full court press that's going to last 3 or so weeks, and so many interesting storylines surrounding this 2024 team, and we are going to have it covered front, back, all around at TigerIllustrated.com. My good friends Blake Smith and Brooke Archenhold have been part of the podcast since the beginning, way back in August of 2018. They have an accomplished team of personal injury attorneys at Parham, Smith, and Archenhold, based in Greenville. They are Clemson people, and their skillful attorneys have decades of experience in complicated litigation matters, taking a special interest in medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, and neglect, car accident cases that have left the individuals involved in serious trouble. For a free consultation at Parham, Smith, and Archenhold, call 864-990-4581 or online at parhamlaw.com. That's P-A-R-H-A-M law.com. Want to share a quick word about Founders Federal Credit Union? If you've been to a sporting event in Clemson, you've probably heard about Founders already. They are the official credit union partner of the Clemson Tigers. In addition to that, all Clemson faculty, staff, and students are eligible for membership, as well as IPTAY members. Its office is located beside the Walmart Neighborhood Market on Old Greenville Highway in Clemson. For more information, go to foundersfcu.com. Solero Communications, formerly known as Tandem Payment, is a full-service integrated electronic payments provider powered by leading-edge technology. Solero provides a wide array of merchant solutions, simplified payments. They make onboarding, taking payments, maintaining risk management and compliance, and getting support quick and easy. At Solero, they're all about helping you achieve sustainable growth as a business. Taking payments isn't the only thing your business needs. With Solero's solutions, you can manage inventory, sell products and services via social media, schedule staff, track sales, get reports, and much, much more. Find out more about Solero at solerocommerce.com. That's C-E-L-E-R-O commerce.com. Okay, a continuation of what we've been doing over the last week and a half or so. The full uncut audio from the press conferences, the recent press conferences with Clemson's assistant coaches. Today, Tyler Grisham and Mike Reed. Enjoy.
Alrighty. How are y'all?
Good.
Yeah, doing great. I can't see anybody now, so. No, you're good.
Tell me when we're ready. Am I good? Yeah, we're good. Appreciate it. Coach, you've been able to add through recruiting, not only depth, probably playmaking ability. Is this as excited as you've been about a group since you've been here?
Yeah, that's a great opening question, man. I am. There's a ton of excitement, and I think there's a lot of expectation, right, that we have, and man, we've got guys that are healthy right now, and Tyler Brown this spring, okay, recovering from a foot that I'm happy we got that fixed and cleaned up, and he's knocking some rust off this summer and getting going. And the same thing with Adam Randall, who had a phenomenal start to the spring, had a little bit of a quad issue, but came back and after not practicing very much, showed a lot of really good things in the spring game. But now that we're here and those guys are working together without coaches, they're excited, and I was talking to Antonio, and he's like, Coach, we're so deep, man. Like, we're so deep. And I think our guys, they want to play with top talent. Like, if they want to see freshmen coming in that can get the job done, right? They want to play with top talent in their own room, and then also against a great defense. They want to have a great defense to go against every day in practice, right? And so I think with our roster, our complete team roster, everybody's excited. But talk about the receiver room, it is. Yeah, sure. I'd say it's the most excited I've been about our personnel, and also just the variety we have. I mean, we can put anybody on the field and have really cool ways of structuring, concepts based on receivers, running backs, and tight ends. I think better than ever before. So. Coach Riley's going to have a lot of fun, I think, trying to craft some of that, but. I could go on and on and on, but man, there's a lot of expectation. I think a lot of excitement, and our guys are hungry to go do it. Here soon. So
you mentioned depth. What's that? Is there a sense of motivation around the guys that have been around for a while, and kind of the guys that have been hurt, but they're looking for that chance? And then you have, like you mentioned, the 2 freshmen coming in. Is there a motivation from, I got to beat out these freshmen that are coming in? Is there, for everybody?
There's no question, and there's no secret to how we've had injuries the last few years. But if you look the last 2 seasons, we've had a freshman All-American receiver. Well, Tyler Brown was given more opportunity because Antonio, coming off a great freshman year, plays in a handful of games, and redshirted, right? And Tyler rose to the occasion and had a great season. And then you bring in, I'm really excited about Noble and about Ronan. I mean, those are guys that had growing to do, some development ahead of them, and they're working their tails off and had a great spring and summer. And so, I'm excited about those guys. And then you bring in Wesco and TJ Moore. They all know each other, right? They all know about each other before they even arrive. And so what I have seen in starting the spring is that guys have really taken that next step, right? They all want to play. They all want to be a starter, right? And so I think there is a little bit of that, what's the word for it? Almost like there's a bear on your tail, right? Coach Sweeney talks about that a little bit with our team. I mean, hey, man, like there's guys coming in that are really good and want to play early. I better be on my A game, right, to stay where I'm at or get to where I want to get to. And so, absolutely, and that's made our room better. And like I said earlier, our guys want that, right? Iron sharpens iron. It's going to raise their game. And what's cool, too, I'll say this about my room. Adam Randall, for instance, Antonio, Adam would take Bryant Wesco when he first arrived. He would take him under his wing, and they would go and they would actually drive to certain places and work with certain trainers. Adam didn't have to do that, but he took Wesco, I think, to help him. But also, I think Adam knows too. Hey, Wesco's really good at some things that I can learn from. Hey, let's help each other. Let's improve together. And so that's been really cool for me to see that there's not any animosity. There's a brotherhood that we've had, and I think it's even stronger this year so far. And I expect that to continue. And that's part of my job too. Is that we can't have selfishness. We can't have that in the room, and I want to allow it, and I haven't seen that so far, so I'm excited about that.
You mentioned Antonio as a freshman. How much is he different as a player now as a junior?
Yeah, we'll see, right? I mean, everything I've heard about this summer, he's doing extra. He's around more. He's leading better. He looks better than he ever has, and that's what you expect, right? When you get into a program and you grind with our phenomenal strength staff and nutrition staff, and our recovery staff. I mean, we have a lot of staffs here, a lot of people that do a great job in their roles. And so he looks better than ever. And, he's one of the first guys, I think, one of the first names that I hear spoken of regarding guys excelling this summer.
We've seen freshmen come into this program at the wide receiver position have tremendous success over the years, looking back maybe 7, 8, 9 years. What are we going to see in Wesco, and what is realistic for what they can do? Is there any kind of a ceiling there?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that's going to be on them. I think Wesco, I went and watched him play a game, and it was I was taking video and I was texting the guys like, all right, this guy right here is different, and he showed up, and there's a transition, right, for any freshman, and from high school to college, and so a lot of that's going to be on how they transition, right? Wesco already having a spring under his belt. I just was really encouraged with him. Sat down with him after the spring. I was like, man, just think about all that you've already accomplished, all that's already taken place. It's flown by, maybe not for him, but it flew by. And that, hey, you came in and you had mat drills. You went straight from mat drills to winter training, the mat drills, and then you had spring practice, and then here we are, summer training. But what he showed in the spring proved to us that he can really help us, right? And like I said earlier, I mean, you've got upperclassmen that are phenomenal players in their own right, and they're improving, and I expect a lot out of those guys that have already been here. And so yeah, there's going to be a competition, right, for who runs out there first. And I think, obviously, game one, we want to be playoff ready, play one, right, of this season, right? And so there's going to be a phenomenal, push from our staff to have our guys ready, right? And that's going to take a ton of coaching, a ton of intensity, from our staff to have our guys ready. And so, I think Wesco has a phenomenal shot of really helping us early. And the same thing with TJ. We haven't gotten on the grass yet with TJ, and we will soon. But I'll say this, and I mentioned this earlier, TJ, if you look at, and our guys know this, but you can see how much time they're spending on their iPads studying. And I think he's number one right now as far as how much he's been watching film, right? And so he's really hungry, and he wants to play early, right? I don't know any freshman that doesn't want to play as a freshman, right? But again, so much as that's going to be on me to try to make sure that they know what to do, right? That they're ready mentally, and then they got to go do it, And so I'm excited for them to have that opportunity. And that's how I've recruited. I've never promised anybody. I didn't tell them, hey, you're going to be a starter when you come to Clemson. I'm not going to do that. Why? I love my guys that are in my room, and I believe in my guys that are in that room. But I did say, hey, there's opportunity for you. And we've had 2 consecutive years of freshmen, All-American receivers that stepped up and made big plays for us. So I'm excited for those guys and eager to see what they do this fall camp.
How they're different stylistically, TJ?
Yeah, again, I'm eager to get my hands on them again, and so time will tell. But I think there's a lot of similarities too. And I had a little bit of a hard time because you want to put them on either side of the field, and they're starting out where Wesco is going to be more of your X, TJ is going to be more of your Z. That's not to say that they'll both play X and Z. I mean, and based on how Wesco learned so quickly, Wesco had maybe a handful of missed assignments all spring as a freshman. Adam got hurt, all right. Tyler Brown wasn't practicing. Stellato moved into the slot, right? And Troy's a guy that, of course, finished the year on a high note, right, and did some phenomenal things for us, but I moved Troy into the slot, so that created more space on the outside, which meant Wesco played with the 1s and 2s quite a bit, and did some great things at X. And so had a ton of reps and didn't have many mistakes. And so, sure, there's some cleaning up to do as far as technique and maybe depth and, things of that nature, but he knew what to do. And so, I think there's a lot of similarities, but they both run really well. I think they both get in and out of their breaks very well. I mean, I don't know. They're very similar. They're very similar. I think Wesco probably has a little better top end, right? TJ doesn't want me to say that, but TJ can run well. But I think Wesco, if you lined them up, maybe has a little better top end. But TJ, yeah, so TJ's a little bit bigger. Yeah, TJ's 190 plus, and the thing about Wesco too, I told him, I was like, hey man, I'm not worried about your weight. That'll come. You're going to get into our program, and that's, and he already has. He's gained over 10 pounds, and carrying it well, and so, but yeah, I'm excited about those guys.
This year, what's the best place to use him?
Best place? Yeah, the best place, he needs to be on the field, and I've moved him around a lot, and the reason why is he's too good to just put in one place, and so I've had him at both Z and X, and to be honest with you, we've put him in the slot some too, and I'm excited because we can go 10 personnel, and our guys, I've told them that, hey man, guys, get ready. And then what happens is you have injuries, and you're not going to go 10 personnel. And then our tight end room is phenomenal. And I was just seeing Christian, our new tight end. He's going to be a great player. I'm telling you, he's going to be a great player. And so, man, our room in that tight end room is deep as well. And we'll be in 12 personnel, 13. I mean, so I'm excited for Garrett to be able to kind of figure out what's going to help us win, and whatever it takes to do that, we'll do. But also know that there's a mismatch when you put a guy that big and that fast in the slot as well. So, we'll figure out, and it could be on a game-by-game basis where we have him, to help us win. But he can do a lot.
To be a move more outside toward the end of the season because of Tyler. But you've got more perimeter depth this year, theoretically. Mm-hmm. And is he a move-around guy? Or
he is. And he's done both this summer. Again, we've not been able to be there and coach these guys up, but I've sent them, hey, here's where I want you today. And every day I've moved guys around. Really also because I'm not going to have in the summer, hey, here's my starters right now. No, like everybody needs to be thinking you're a starter. And if this is a 17-game season, everybody has to be ready to play, right? And be ready to start, okay? Not just contribute, but be a starter. And so I've moved my starters around, okay? And so I think there's some humility there from our guys to say, okay, all right, I'm number 2 today. Hey, I'm number 3 today. I'm going to go get all the reps I can get, and I'm going to go be great, right, with what I'm given. So yeah, I mean, I think it's been great so far. Our guys have adapted well to that. So yeah.
When did you know Tyler Brown was going to be able to contribute for you last year, and what allowed him to have the season that he had? Part of that is opportunity, but what stood out about this season? Yeah,
I mean, it's fun whenever the guys get here because he was a summer enrollee, didn't have a spring. But whenever you kind of ask around, okay, what do you think? Give me some names of you ask the defensive guys. Give me some names of some players that are really standing out to you. Even our own receivers will say, hey, Tyler's going to help us early, coach. I mean, and I think his speed, his quickness, but also his hands that matched, being able to receive the ball well. So I got reports of that in the summer, which is always exciting, right? And I've had those already from these 2 freshmen this year, but and then in fall camp is when he showed toughness. I think that's the thing too, just being able to transition from high school to college. The intensity really cranks up, right? And every play, if you're not giving everything you have, you're not going to be successful, all right? And so you have to bring it every play. And I think he showed that toughness and that willingness to work. So yeah, it was obvious in fall camp. And then, against Duke, right? Put him in a situation where he was given, I think it was his first catch, was a drop back pass, verts passing game, and he was running the far seam to the other hash from the field, and Cade threw a great ball and he made a great play, but it was, he proved pretty early that the moment wasn't too big for him, right? And I think that's what's really important for a young guy is, can you go out there and just play ball and not worry about the setting, not worry about the crowd. You're just on the field, right? It's football, go play. And if you can kind of have that mentality as a freshman, that'll help you play early and contribute and start, right?
I laughed at Adam Randall during Dabo's camp. He was down there working with receivers, and he had TJ Moore with him.
Yeah.
And he started fussing at TJ, like, don't sit on the golf cart, don't lean on the dummy. You're here to earn a paycheck and work.
That's
How
funny.
invaluable is that to have? And is he kind of taking on the role of, you mentioned it earlier, driving Wesco around to different trainers? Is he kind of taking on that mantle?
Yeah, I think he has. And I would argue that he's taken on that role better than I've ever seen a single receiver. Amari Rodgers was very similar. Adam ended up buying wide receiver U-shirts for our guys already. For the whole group. And that was really cool. In the world of NIL, right? The guys can do that. Now, and which is cool. But he's done little things to really make that known that he is that leader. And it takes confidence, right, to do that. But also, I think he knew the guys were willing to follow him, right? And so he's kind of, stepped out a little bit here and there, and the guys have responded well to that. Antonio is another guy that has really increased his leadership. Front row, sits in the front row, taking notes as good as anybody, speaking up, correcting, right? This is how we do things, right? This is not how we do things, okay? And I think that's what's exciting for me is that when you bring in freshmen, you want to make sure that you have those upperclassmen that can show them the way, right? Let somebody else's taillights be your headlights kind of thing, right? Just follow the right people. Don't follow the wrong people. Follow the right people. And man, we have some alphas in this room, and I think they do share a little bit of that leadership. Hampton Earl is a walk-on receiver that isn't going to get all the accolades, and he's not going to be written up in the paper, but he's another leader. The guys will listen to him because he's proven to be a consistent leader, to be about his business, and so I've seen Cole Turner grow up. Right, I brought in Ronan Hannafin. He's the son of the captain of the SWAT team. Right, like he's a dog. Okay, Troy has really grown and matured, and he's a tough guy on the field. Right, and he's shown that. And so, but man, listen, I think our guys too know you have to be tough off the field. Right, you have to develop that character, which can be hard. All right, especially in the dark is when it's grown. And so I've seen a lot of growth in every area for my guys.
Coach, do you feel like that was something that you liked last year? Was that alpha leadership?
I had some good leadership. And I'll say this, our room last year was, at the time, it was probably the best I've ever had as far as camaraderie, brotherhood, and then this year, I'm hearing more of the same, and again, another level of improvement in that area. Skills and drills in the summer, right? That's when the guys are grinding together. They're having their own player-led practices, right? Well, heading into last season, we had the best skills and drills we've ever had. Heading into this season, right, it's the best skills and drills we've ever had. Like, there's been improvement and there's been growth. And I think the thing that, if you're familiar with James Clear, he wrote Atomic Habits. It's a great book, all right? It's a really thick book, all right? But take your time, don't give up, finish it. It's really, really good if you're trying to develop habits. And I think he calls it, what is it? The plateau of latent potential. And all the work that you're putting in, it doesn't always show initially, right? That's why the New Year's resolutions, the gym is packed in January, and then it's, in a couple months there's nobody there, right? I mean, but don't give up, right? Because all of that work, all of that effort is kind of being stored, right? And at some point you'll see it pay off. And I believe that's kind of how our room is going to be. I really think that last year I saw growth, I saw improvement. I think guys, including myself, I think we're all getting better. And I want this to be our best year yet. And that's what I expect to happen. And all the work, all the commitment, all the sacrifice that a lot of people don't see, I think it'll start to really, really show this year.
Coach, Brian looked great in the spring game. Where is he compared to most freshmen coming in?
Yeah.
What does he need to work on the most? And how much has he bulked up in the last few months?
Yeah, first and foremost, he really has worked, and has bought into the process, and he's gotten with Megan and our nutrition staff, and he's put on over 10 pounds. And what's cool is he actually, we'll see how the 40 compares to Nate, but we do flying 10s, and he beat Nate's flying 10, so he can run. And so we're excited about that, and I think because of his size and his speed, but also his trainer out there, D-Rob in Texas, man, he's able to really sink his hips and get in and out of breaks really well. So he does a lot of things really well. Maybe he does have some things where he's elite, and some other areas where he's going to need to improve, like anybody, But man, he's shown because of his skill set that he's. What's cool too is you got some upperclassmen that are like, hey, coach, he's different. Like they know that, right? They know that, hey, he's a great player, and they expect him to push them and to help us, right? We want to win, right? The guys want to win, right? They want, and as a staff, we want the best players on the field. And so, he'll earn what he's going to get. All right, nobody's been promised anything, and he knows that. Hey, man, like I'm going to go earn that starting position. I have to earn it. All right, it's not going to be given to me. So, and he's worked his tail off, and we're excited to see what he does.
What's the key to a receiver putting on muscle while maintaining that speed?
Yeah, for me, speed's the main thing. And so I told him, hey, man, don't sacrifice, that. All right, we don't need you to be a weight room All-American. We want you to be an on-the-field All-American, right? And so, I think it's a slow process. For some, it happens pretty quick, right? As far as putting on that early mass. But man, it's there's really no secret to it, right? I mean, I think it's just, man, trust Coach Batson and his staff, right? Man, buy into the weight program, and I think that's the main thing too. He was a triple jumper, ran track. He didn't really have an off season, right, of weight training. Well, he's had that now. Okay, the winter training is tough, and then the summer training again is really, really difficult for a reason. And so, man, he's bought into that and done all he's needed to do in the other areas to get to where he's at.
When it comes to Antonio Williams, he dealt with some injuries last year. How tough was that on him mentally, and then heading into this season? What parts of his game specifically have you seen improve?
Yeah, it was hard, right? I mean, because he's coming off of a great freshman year, and again, heading into his sophomore year as a starter, he expected a big year, right? And so whenever injuries happen, man, that it's like you lose a part of yourself, right? You can't play a game that you've been playing since you were a kid. And that was hard for him. And but what's cool is I saw even that season, right, and trying to get back healthy, he worked his tail off to get back, and then had another injury, right, in both lower leg. Okay, and then, man, what did he do? He got back, and the lab was available for the bowl game. And we knew we had him on a pitch count, but, man, he made some big-time plays for us in that game, right? And so I think that showed me a lot of selflessness. He didn't have to play in the bowl game. He wasn't 100%. But, man, we got to have you. We got to have you. And, man, that was really, really special for him to do that. And, in the era where players are there's more selfishness than ever. They're opting out of bowl games. He didn't do that. And man, I think, this is his year. I think he knows that he's going to be one of our most relied upon players in the offense, and he wants that. And I think I'm hearing him more because he knows that he needs the ball to help us win, and so we're going to do our best to get that ball to him, and he's ready for it. And so he's I think he's taking the next step of maturity. I've seen him really buy into some of the technique, right, and fundamentals, because it's always come easy, and I have a hard time because it wasn't easy for me as a player. Like, it took everything out of me 100%, and it's always come easy where it looks, and I think TJ Moore is very similar. They have very similar demeanors, and I've learned as a coach to be okay with, like, hey, some guys are more relaxed, and it's not nonchalant. That's just, but I think he's taking the next step, and I think raising his intensity in his training, in his presence, in practice. And so this spring was phenomenal for him, both playing inside and outside. Yeah, man, the sky's the limit for him.
What do you think about Tyler Brown's progression? And just seems like every time we talk to him, his character just comes through to such a high threshold. But how would you describe his progression as a person, a leader, and a player as well?
Yeah, I mean, special family, right? Comes from a special family, and was raised the right way, and man, he's. I knew early on recruiting him that he would add to the room, right, with his character, right, with his personality and with his presence, and he did that early, and so I think what's cool is, man, he's a great teammate. Right, he respects his teammates, regardless of how they perform on the field. I mean, he respects them as individuals, and so they respect him, and he does lead. He is even though he's a young guy, he carries himself like an upperclassman, and has great energy. And so I think the guys, see him as one of those leaders, and so man, it kind of comes natural to him. And so, I'm excited for him to really see how this next year, right? You're not a freshman anymore. I mean, you're an upperclassman. They don't have freshman All-Americans, right? They don't have sophomore All-Americans. And so, man, we gotta have a great year. And so I think for him, he's hungry because not practicing in the spring. He just voiced to me, Coach, this is hard. This is hard because in the spring we actually had guys making plays, and he's watching our receivers do well, and he's like, all right, I need to get back out there. One, I want to make plays, but also I need to go show that, hey, I belong. That's my spot, right? And so he's eager, he's hungry to get back out there and improve upon what he did as a freshman.
Stellato, how's he doing after the cleanup, and how is he kind of transitioning back into that slot?
Yeah, this is the most he has been available in a summer, and he's been a little limited, because of his shoulder. But he's been available, and he's been able to work, in other areas as he's, rehabbing that shoulder. This was the most he's ever had this past spring available. Okay, and so, and I told him that because he was hurting. He was hurting. His shoulder was not in great shape. Really, kind of the second half of the season, it was not in great shape, and he played through that. And so, talking to him, I said, man, listen, if we can get, half of the spring with you, where I can really try to coach you up on some stuff. And again, he's playing some slot too. That's a newer position for him. He played a little bit of that as a freshman, but redshirted. Last year, we put him on the outside and did some great things. And again, with his versatility, I wanted to be able to really try to coach him as much as I could before that surgery. And so having him, available is the main thing because he really hasn't had everything he's done up to this point is just based upon his speed, his toughness, his athleticism. So it can come natural, but man, he really needs to take another step in his game, and I believe that he will with the time that we've had with him and this summer. Whenever we get on the grass, it's going to be huge for him to remain healthy, so we can get those reps and have him ready to go game one. Because I mean, that guy right there, he does some things in our room that some guys can't do. So we need him to be at his best, and he wants to be the guy. I mean, I have a lot of guys that can be the guy, which is great, and so I'm excited to get with him and help him get ready.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate you, Grisham.
Upstate foodies, want to take a moment to talk to you about our favorite taco spot, Willie Taco. 5 locations across the upstate. This award-winning team has been serving up fresh taco fusion for a solid decade now. The chefs at Willie Taco utilize the freshest, most creative, and sometimes unexpected ingredients in their kitchens. Come see why Southern Living, Garden and Gun, and Food and Wine Magazine are raving about Willie Taco and their signature offerings, such as their Southern Tide, crispy avocado, Nashville hot chicken tacos, literally flavors you will not find anywhere else, folks. And don't forget about the cocktails. Super fresh margaritas, ice cold cerveza, and over 80 tequilas served up daily from behind the bar. So don't wait, folks. Your Willie Taco Familia is ready to serve you up their twist on funky, fresh fusion. It's the Willie way. Another loyal supporter of the Dubcast is Blackacre Law Firm in Greenville, a subsidiary of Parham Smith and Archenhold. Blackacre helps South Carolina residents achieve their dreams of home ownership by providing experienced, professional representation for real estate closings. Attention to detail is crucial in real estate law. Blackacre is committed to making sure nothing gets by them preparing residential or commercial closings. Blackacre also offers estate planning services for their clients in the Greenville area. Find out more about Blackacre at 864-326-3507. When you're ready for a complete renovation in your home or business, open the door to more with Harris Home and Harris Commercial. Their local experienced team will totally transform any room space, from beautiful floor coverings to construction to finished details. Harris handles every step of your renovation process, whether it's a kitchen or living room or an industrial or educational setting, like some of the positively stunning work they've done at Clemson University. Go to discoverharris.com and experience a total renovation transformation from Harris Home and Harris Commercial.
Yeah, Coach, just second year for him, but how impressive has he been to that side?
He's everything you expect. Like I said, we've been recruiting him since he was 9 years old, so we've been able to see the evolution of his game. And so I'm excited. You've seen him, transform over the years from that little that little kid. I mean, I still have a picture of him when he was here, when he was 9 years old in our youth camp, participating. So it's good to see him, come to fruition.
Shelton kind of talks about the friendship they have off the field. How important do you think that is to kind of have that relationship on the field?
I mean, it's great because now you got a guy that's got your back, and he's fighting for the same thing you're fighting for. And when you have that type of synergy, hopefully, it equals success.
It's been a frustrating couple years for Jeadyn Lukus. How's he kind of, finding his way back into a role?
With Jeadyn, it's just been, his health. It's been those little nagging injuries, and it's, right now he's healthy. So I'm looking forward to seeing the old J. Lou. I mean, I haven't seen him made a true play since the ACC championship game when he showed the world, while we recruited him. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. Yes, sir. He's back now. He's doing everything, everything that's been asked of him. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, from everything what everybody's telling me, he looks good. So I'm looking forward to putting my eyes on him. Right now, we haven't been able, as far as coaching staff, have not been able to do anything per se with the players yet. So, it's one of those kind of things that, Santa Claus has come, and I'm going to hurry up and get down the steps to see what he left me.
There's no replacing Nate, obviously, but the cornerback group had the lone tiger go in the first round. With the cornerback group, is that something that they've taken upon themselves to kind of compound on and just raise the bar of that section of the DBs?
Well, when you talk about the history and the legacy of defensive backs here, it's like one person leaves, the next one steps up. It's an opportunity for somebody else. And, it's one of those things, I don't recruit a kid to come to Clemson and sit on the bench. I recruit kids because I want to see them play. And so it's going to be interesting to see who's that guy that's going to be stepped up. I mean, I got an inclination which guy it is, but my inclination never worked. It's always somebody else. So I'm anxious to see some guys go out there and compete and win an opportunity to play on Saturdays.
As far as leadership, who have you seen step up, and who do you want to see step up this fall?
Well, Shelton Lewis is a guy, that's he's a natural born leader. He came in day one and he was telling guys what to do. Avieon is a leader. And then Jeadyn Lukus is starting to mature and become that leader that, you want young men to be. Not everybody can be that vocal guy, but some guys, through attrition, learn to be leaders just by, doing things the right way and being accountable and being consistent.
What does Avieon have to do to take that next step?
I mean, just continue to hone in on his craft, and that's something that he does daily. Watching film, asking questions. He's one of those kind of guys that you got to pull the reins back on because he'll overtrain too. And that's what you see in a lot of these young athletes nowadays is guys that are overtraining, and then it causes a lot of soft tissue injuries. So just making sure that he's taking care of his body as well as doing his training.
Trio of Barnes, Terrell, Lewis, none of them were giant recruits in high school, and they all found their way on the field last year as freshmen. Were you surprised at all by the impact they were able to have early on?
No. I mean, like I said, for some of these kids, we've watched them grow, and, it's one of those things that you see it in them. These are guys that are hungry. And a lot of times people equate success with just stars, but I equate success with guys that are willing to go out and work. And these are young men that are going to put on their hard hat and they're going to go to work every day. And when you got that type of work ethic, you're going to have some type of success. Well, I think it helped him from a transition from going from high school to college, because a lot of these kids, they don't know what they don't know. So for him to come in early and participate, one, it was a way for him to learn the playbook. Two is, now to see the different skill set, because a lot of these kids don't face those type of receivers week in and week out in high school. You may go 1 week and you may be playing against little boy Blue over here and he can't get off the line of scrimmage. And then the next week you play against, somebody who's considered a 5-star. Well, every day you're going to get challenged on that practice field. And I told Qualk over here at the Roar, we got some guys in that receiver room that, are really going to surprise some people.
From a special teams perspective, now that Shipley's out of the frame, who or what are you looking at to create that nervous energy for opposing teams to go, okay, that guy can be dangerous back there?
Well, we've got a stable of guys, that have been proven, But it's just now, with Shipley gone, now it's like who's going to step up, who's going to take the bull by the horns and go run with it. So I'm excited because we got some guys that really can go get it, that can turn the burners on. So it's going to be exciting.
And then I know, I believe they're not doing it in college and just the pros, but are you giving any attention to how in the NFL them changing kickoff, how that looks at all? Are you giving any attention to that?
I haven't yet. And it's the game is forever changing. And it's. For me, I hate it a little bit. Some of it I like because of the safety part of it, but some I don't because it's taken away from the true essence of the game of football and what people are paying to see. They want to be entertained. So I'm all about, some old school football.
What would you say is your greatest takeaway from last season that you want to bring into this season?
Is resilience. We fought week in and week out. It's one of those things where people are not scared of Clemson anymore. It's like that old Rocky thing when our Rocky hits Drago in the face and he cuts him. And they're talking about, he's human. We're human. And so now it's we got to get back on that horse and we got to make people understand that this is Clemson and we mean business.
To compound on that, Clemson still being a very prominent team nationally and well ranked, but under the radar a little bit, is that kind of a place that you guys as a team relish right now, to kind of be a little bit under the radar but still very prominent? How's that space?
Man, for me, and I think my players take on sometimes the attitude of me, I don't really care. I just want to go play. You know what I mean? Like I said, we're not promised tomorrow. So every day we get up, we got to count our blessings and we got to make sure, we can take advantage of every opportunity we have and we work hard. Nobody's going to give us anything. We got to go out and take it. Oh, Jeadyn Lukus is ready to go. I mean, and what I expect from him is I want to see that guy that I saw when he was coming out of high school. I want to see the guy that's making plays. I want to see that guy that's in your face. I want to see that guy that's being physical day in and day out. He has a wealth of talent. And it's my job. I got to get it. And there's glimpses of it. He just hasn't been healthy. And right now he's in a position where he's healthy. He's running and he's moving a lot better. So I'm looking forward to it. As far as the receivers, I mean, you take Wesco, you take Tyler Brown, Antonio Williams, and I've seen T.J. Moore play in high school, and from my perspective, I mean those guys are dynamic, and so I'm looking forward to the matchups out there on the practice field.
Has it been one side or has one side how has
Excuse me, it's one of those days where one guy has a good day, one guy has a bad day. And at the end of the practice or training camp, you've won more battles than you've lost. And so like I said, iron sharpens iron. So they're making us better.
Terrell and Shelton, Avieon and Shelton kind of got more reps towards the end of the season, I guess. Was there a moment last season you were like, okay, we could rely on these guys to make for us start first?
Well, it's one of those kind of things where we're trying to search for some cohesiveness, some synergy, and it's like, what? Hey, this guy deserves his opportunity. Let's give him a shot. Like I said, we're in a position where, no position is etched in stone. And sometimes guys get, they start resting on their laurels and things of that nature. So I gotta spark a fire in that room. And so I gotta go with the young boys and see what they can do. Because, hey, if the older guys are not getting it done, I need to go, find out what these young guys can do. Because, hey, like I said, I recruited them to play. So, hey, I may not be around long. I gotta see these guys play. So, for them, they got an opportunity and ran with it, and they were successful.
There were some guys throughout the spring as well as coming into the summer, and you've seen
I wouldn't say I've had huge jumps, because, I don't like huge jumps. I like those incremental steps, because I don't want a guy to get to reach that success and then doesn't realize the journey and the process it took to get there. So I'm all about the small steps, and at the end of the day, hopefully them small steps end up to W's on Saturday.
What have you seen in Jeadyn Lukus? I mean, he came here as a highly touted recruit from the upstate. battled some injuries, battled some adversity, but we've seen some flashes of him doing some good things. What are his expectations coming into this season?
My expectations are hey, he's got to go. He's been here. He's the oldest guy in the room actually, and like I said, I want to see those plays. And I want to see that playmaking ability. I want to see that physical kid, that I recruited, And so I'm looking forward to him.
You feel like it's in there? I mean,
it's there.
It's in there.
It's there.
What do you think he learned from the adversity that he had to go through last year, sitting and watching them healthy and play through injuries?
As a competitor, it stinks because you're sitting on the sideline. You want to play too. It's like, as a little kid and, all the big kids are playing basketball and you're the little guy and you're sitting on the sideline. You're like, I want to play too, And so, it's time for him. It's time for him.
What are those three newcomers, Tavoy, Ashton, and Corian, bring to your group?
Well, I can tell you right now, that Corian Gipson, you thought Nate Wiggins was fast. Wait till you see that joker run. I mean, if you ask me, he's the one guy I can't wait to see. Because he came here and he had a knee injury, and I saw him in high school, and the first thing I saw was flash. And he's a kid that can go from 0 to 500 very quick. And so I'm interested in seeing him. Tavoy, like I said, Tavoy is the guy who came in early. And so, it was one of those type of things that his body is transforming. He's not the little guy on the block anymore. And then Ashton Hampton, I mean, you look at him. He's 6'3". He can run. He's physical. I mean, I like what I got in those three right there. I mean, you're talking about the future of Clemson defensive backs. I mean, we're going to get after some guys.
How's the motivation for game one? When you look on the schedule and you see a team like Georgia, as you go through camp, how many times do you bring up Georgia? I mean, the guys are aware of it, but making sure you're ready for the first game of the season. It's not a layup.
No, exactly. I mean, heck, last year wasn't a layup. We got our asses kicked. And for me, motivation is, hey, we got to go perform every day. I mean, yeah, we play against Georgia, but I don't give a damn rat's ass who we play. We got to go get it. We got to go get it. And so for me, it's just, hey, we got to come together as a team, and we got to go out and we got to produce every day. You got to have depth, and as you say, it's to the point now we're almost like an NFL season, and so we've got to have those guys because guys are going to get injured, guys are going to get dinged up. Nobody week 12 is going to feel like they're at week 1 anymore. So you're going to have a quality. You're going to have to have guys that are going to be able to step in, take some quality reps, and perform.
Kind of along those same lines, you've only got 2 true upperclassmen in your room. How do you spread the reps out, make sure those guys are getting enough practice, knowing what looms ahead in week 1?
Well, the thing is about it, you got to just make sure that they don't overwork. That they get their quality work in, and then you got to get those younger guys in so that they can get acclimated to the speed, the playbook, and things of that nature. Because I got to make sure very early, I got to find out which one of those younger guys are going to be able to be that guy. And so I got to find out early. So sometimes I may have to take some reps away from an older guy, give them some to the younger guy, just so that I know that they're ready, they're game ready.
I know you look at film all the time, obviously for preparation. Is there any film preparation from the game 2 years ago in Charlotte that you're using with these guys to kind of pick and choose what to look for?
I mean, when you have a summer break and your first game is Georgia, so you have a lot of time to look at a lot of film. So you're going to take some things that from different games and things and utilize them because you have to, because you don't know what you're getting, Like they're a new team, they're going to bring out some new players too, some guys that we've never seen before. So we've got to make sure that we do our due diligence and look at everything.
Kind of mentioned Corian Gipson, but is sitting here in July, is there a guy that maybe 7 or 8 games in that Clemson fans, the nation's going to look up and be like, holy cow, where did he come from?
I don't know. I hope you say that about all of them. It's one of those kind of things where you don't know what you don't know because you haven't seen them perform on game, And so for me, like I said, this summer, I haven't had really an opportunity to get my hands on them and work with them. So I'm looking forward to opening a training camp so I can actually see, like, ooh, okay, you know. So I don't want to, give a certain guy and say that he's going to be that guy, because like I said, I hope all of them are, you know. And who would have known it would have been AV last year or Shelton, you know. So I try to hold that until I truly get my eyes on it.
How much confidence did Shelton get after his late season performance?
A lot. I mean, to be thrown in there, to go from a guy that's getting maybe 5 to 10 reps a game to being a starter. I mean, and you could see it, where he started getting more confident as he kept playing, And so I'm looking forward to seeing him produce, from what he did last year to this year.
Obviously, because of Avion's name and his brother and everything, people expected a lot of him coming in. Were you surprised at how quickly he called on and contributed?
No, not really, because he does have an older brother that with mentoring, telling him about certain things. So he kind of had a jump start on a lot of people from that aspect. So it wasn't surprising. I mean, just to see that kid's work ethic when he was a young kid, he was trying to outperform his brother, making sure that people didn't, say, oh, that's AJ's little brother. He was a guy that went and earned it. He's like I say, when you see that kid work, you'd understand like why he's so successful at an early age.
Shoot around on the basketball court coming up. This is part of the score that we get to see. Who on the coaching staff do you think is the biggest threat on the basketball court?
DeAndre McDaniel. Coach Sweeney's a pure shooter, but I say DeAndre McDaniel.
Do you guys get out there much to play? Or?
Man, I'm 52 years old. I ain't getting out there no more. But they do. There's some quality noontime basketball that goes on out there. I refrain from it.
What activities do you guys, the more seasoned coaching staff, what do you?
I mean, some guys go and they go to the 100 yards of wellness like me. All right, you got guys that go play pickleball, some guys that go play basketball, and you got guys that work out. So you got a wide array of things that coaches do.
And what is it like for you guys as a coaching staff to have those activities that you can bond over?
I mean, some of us take advantage of it, some of us don't. It's nice to have it, because there, like I said, there's a lot of places that don't have this. And so you appreciate what you have, because you go to other places and you see what they're working with, and you're like, whoa, okay, So it's a great place, man. That's why I've been here 12 years.
Speaking of how long you've been here, what keeps you here? I'm sure you've got other places before since you got here.
Great people, man. I mean, and I must be doing my job right too, because if it was bad people, I don't think that would make me stay here. And then I love my kids, the guys that I've had opportunity to coach. I mean, they've been a blessing, heck, I just went to one of my players' wedding. Robert Smith got married recently. So to see him go from that 18, 19-year-old teenager to a married man, I mean, that's what you're in your business for.
Along those lines, I think I saw a report that you spoke with Boston College about their head coaching gigs. Anything you can say about that, or I guess the fact that you're still here now? So
it was something that was posed to me, and it was a great opportunity to be able to interview at my old alma mater. But at the end of the day, hey, they went to the right, I went to the left, and let's go.
Anyone else for Coach Reed?
All right, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I had forgotten about Reed's name being in the hat for that Boston College job until they went with Bill O'Brien, but that could end up being a rather large development for this Clemson program moving forward. Appreciate the long-running support of our sponsors as they continue to help make this happen. And also thanks to every one of you, of course, for hitting that play button. Appreciate it. Cheers.